Good morning. I just want to go over the test with you so that you can look at your test and see what you got wrong, and then you can see what corrections you need to make if you decide to take the retake. The retake will be given for anyone who got below a 70, and you can get up to a 70 on the retake. For some reason, when this is doing this is rewriting the problem, so that's kind of strange. But this first one should be y equals 2/3 x plus 2. So again, remember your slope is 2/3, which means you go up and right, and your b is 2. Your second line, y equals negative x minus 3, your slope is -1, and your b is -3. Again, remember, we're solving a linear system by graphing. Solving a linear system, what you're trying to do is find out where the two lines intersect. So your answer is always going to be, for the most part, an ordered pair, x, comma, y. All right? So you want to solve both of your equations for y when you're graphing. Get your slope, which tells you your up and down, your left and your right, and your y-intercept, which tells you where to plot a point on the y-axis. All right? So the first line, this first line right here, we'll call that 1, has a y-intercept of 2. So let's go up and plot 2 on the y-axis. And it has a slope of 2/3. So that means you go up 2 and over 3. Or remember, we can go down 2 and left 3. And then we draw our line. The second line we'll call this line number 2, has a y-intercept of -3, so go down to -3. And now it has a slope of -1. So that means down 1, right 1. But that really is in the wrong direction. We want this line to meet the red line or the pink line. So we can, instead of going down 1, right 1, remember we can go up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1. And by doing that, by keep doing it, we can do it all the way till we see exactly where those two lines intersect, which is at this point right here, which is the ordered pair, -3, 0. Okay, so that's your answer. Solving a linear system by graphing is asking you the question, where do these two lines intersect? They intersect at the point -3, 0. And that's what I would have liked to see. Just writing down m equals, b equals, and then showing me some points so that I know you actually did those graphs to find the answer. Number 2. Number 2, now these equations are not solved for y. So you need to solve these equations for y. So you have x plus y equals -7. So you need to get this x on the other side so that y is by itself. So y equals -x minus 7. So the slope, remember, is the coefficient of x, which is -1. And your y-intercept is -7. Now you have to do the same thing for that second equation. 2x minus y equals -8. So subtract 2x from both sides. The important thing to remember here is that there is that negative sign in front of the y, right here. So that has to come down. Okay, so now we have to divide by -1 because we want to solve for y. So negative divided by a negative is a positive 2x, and a -8 divided by a -1 is a positive 8. So you have the slope is 2, and the y-intercept, which is b, is positive 8. So now we actually have a y-intercept of 8 and a y-intercept of -7. So that's pretty far away. So I need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I need to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to get to my -7. Remember, well, you had on the test, if you printed it out, the graphs to use. If you can't print it out, remember when you are drawing your graph that you need to make very specific and equal spaces between your lines. So if you're using loose leaf, make sure you use those lines that are already there. Don't draw new lines. All right, so the first line, again, is, let's do this one first. So that'll be line 1. So our y-intercept is -7. And our slope is -1, which would be down 1, right 1. Well, we know that the graph is going to be up top, so let's go up 1. Oh, it wouldn't be up 1, right 1. It would be up 1, left 1. So let's erase that, right? Because it's a negative slope, so it's going to be falling. So notice how I caught that right away. And you're going to just keep going. Okay, and draw that line. If we need to, we can be more specific. Then let's do second one. So this one right here. That has +2, +8 intercept, and a slope of +2. So that's going to go down 2 and left 1 because it would be up 2, right 1. So the opposite would be down 2, and that's going to go over. And then that's going to go like here. So if you had graph paper, that intercept is going to be -5, -2. So my graph's a little off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which you can kind of see actually that it is. So if I kind of, let's see, made that a little bit better maybe, down 2 over 1, down 2. That's why I said you had to be very specific. That looks a little bit more like -5, 2. Now, because I'm drawing my lines and not using graph paper, so it does appear to be a little off or hard to tell, remember that you can take those original problems, x plus y equals -7, and 2x minus y equals -8, and plug in the ordered pair to make sure it works. So that would be -5 plus -2 equals -7. That's right. This would be 2 times -5 minus a -2 equals -8. That's -10 plus 2 minus a minus equals -8. That works. -8 equals -8. So you can check your answers every time to make sure that you've chosen the correct ordered pair. The next two, if you notice, have inequalities. So you have to remember when you have inequalities, you're going to be asking, is it a slashed line or a solid line? And where do we shade? Do we shade above or below the line? Okay, those are the things that you have to remember when you're doing inequalities. So the first one, you have y is greater than or equal to x minus 4. So it's already solved for y. So we get our slope and our y-intercept. Now we look and we see it's greater than or equal to. So it's equal to, so we have a solid line. And it's greater than or equal to, so we shade above, because where does y get bigger? It gets bigger as the line goes up, as the y-axis goes up. The numbers on the y-axis go up. The second one is y is less than or equal to negative 2x minus 8. So that slope is negative 2, and the y-intercept is negative 8. Again, it's less than or equal to. It's equal to, so we have a solid line. And it's less than or equal to, so now we're going to shade under or below the line because y gets smaller as it moves down the axis. Let's see if we have some room here for me to do this. All right, so now let's graph. I'm going to move it up a little bit. There we go. And again, the first slope is, get my paper here, 1, and the y-intercept is negative 4. So let's actually first do some okay. So the first one is negative 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 down on the y-axis. And the slope is 1. So up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, etc. Solid line. And it was shade above. So remember, where does y get bigger as it moves up the axis? So you're going to shade on top of that line or moving up. Now you have to draw the second line. So the second line has a y-intercept of negative 8. Oh, so that goes down. I didn't go further enough down there. So let's just go. There we go. So let me go back here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can make that a little longer. All right. And let's do this in green. So if I go down 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and put a point, and then my slope is negative 2, so that would be down 2, right 1, or up 2, left 1. Now before I draw that line, I have to decide, was it a solid line? It was. So we're going to put a solid line through those points. And now we have to decide where to shade it. Was less than, so that means we're going to shade below. And we can see now that right in here is where the two lines are going to intersect or cross over or meld. There's no line down in this area of red, so you don't even have to end up putting yours down there if you don't want to. So again, this is where the red line and the green line overlap, so that's where your answer is. So you needed to shade that area in darker with your pencil if you just use pencil, or show me a different color like this to show me that that's the answer. All those points in that shaded area are your solutions. There are many. Now you're going to do the same thing with this next one. So the next one, again, for some reason, I don't know what's happening when it takes my worksheet, it moves it. So that's the first one. And the second one is y is less than or equal to 5. So your slope here is -3. Your y is 4. Again, what kind of line? Solid and shade above. Y is less than or equal to 5, remember, is a horizontal line. It's going to be solid because of the equals, and you're going to shade under because it's less than. Okay, so the first one, slope is -3, b is 4, so go up to 1, 2, 3, 4 and put your point. Slope is -3, so that means you're going to go down 1, 2, 3 and right 1. Up, you could go up 1, 2, 3 and left 1. Solid line. And it's greater than, so we said we needed to shade above. The second line, remember, is a horizontal line through y equals 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So go up to 5 and draw a horizontal line, which is solid also because of the equals, and that's less than. So you can see where the green line and the red line overlap, which is right in here. So on your test, you would need to show me by docketing in with your pencil, or some of you did use colored pencils. So you need to show me the solution. That is the solution. All those points in that shaded area make both of those equations true when you substitute those points in. Now we have solving by elimination. No graphing anymore. Okay, no graphing. So what are we trying to do? We're still trying to find where these lines intersect. At what point? We're looking for an ordered pair, x, comma, y. Okay, x, comma, y, every one. Okay, so now we want to eliminate a variable. So if we look at this first set of equations, this first one should have the 30 should be over here. So just kind of ignore that. If we look at the x's, we have a 2 and a 3. That's not going to eliminate if we add them. If we look at the y's, we have a -5 and a 5. Well, if we add -5 and 5, we get 0. So when we add these two equations, though that y is going to be eliminated. So 2 plus 3 is 5x. -5y plus 5y is 0, so that's gone. And -5 plus 30 is 25. Now all we have to do is divide by 5, and we know what x is. Well, what are we looking for? Again, remember, we're looking for an ordered pair, x comma y. We have our x, so we need to find y. So we're going to take our value of x, and then we're going to choose one of the equations over here. Doesn't matter which one. I usually choose the one that has the most positive numbers because then you make less mistakes. So where I see x, I'm going to put 5. Substitute. Now if we look at that equation, we only have a y. So now we can solve for that y, which means get y by itself. So subtract the 15, and you have 5y equals 15, divide by 5, and y equals 3. So what's our ordered pair? 5, 3. 5, 3. Okay? And again, you can take these numbers and plug them in over here and see if that works, right? You can do it in your head, okay? If you put 2 times 5 is 10, minus 5 times 3 is 15. What's 10 minus 15? Negative 5. That works. Go to the bottom one. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 5 times 3 is 15. 15 plus 15 is 30. That works. So your answer is the ordered pair 5, 3. If you were graphing these on a plane, they would intersect at that point. Number 6, we have, 3x plus y equals negative 11. And we have negative 3x plus y equals 19. Well, the first thing we have to do is choose a variable to be eliminated. So we look at the variables to see if any of them have coefficients that are already opposites. So if we look at those x's, one has a coefficient of 3, one has a coefficient of negative 3. So if we add those, the x is going to be eliminated, gone. So when we add 3 minus 3 is 0, 1y plus 1y is 2y. Some of you put just y, so that's where you made your careless mistake. Remember, there's a 1 here and a 1 here. You have 2 y's. Divide by 2, and y equals 4. Again, what are we finding? We're finding an ordered pair every single time. Well, we know y, so now we have to find x. So if we know y equals 4, again, we go to the beginning and we choose one of the equations to use. I'm going to choose the 3x plus the y equals negative 11. I'm going to put in 4 where I see y. Solve for x. Subtract 4 from both sides, and we get 3x equals negative 15. Now what do we have to do? Now we have to divide by 3, and x equals negative 5. So what's my ordered pair? Where do these two lines intersect? X is negative 5, and y is 4. Number 7. Number 7, 24 should be up here, but anyways, we'll just go 2x plus 4y equals 24, and 2x minus 2y equals 12. All right, so I can look at my x's and see if I add them, will they disappear? 2 and 2 gives me 4. But if one of them was negative 2, then my x's would cancel. So if I just take and multiply one of those equations by negative 1, I'm going to choose the bottom one. Okay. If I multiply that by negative 1, I'm going to get negative 2x plus 2y equals negative 12. Now I'm going to just write my first equation over because it doesn't have to change. And now, since my x's are negative or opposites, I can add. So 2x minus 2x is 0. 4 plus 2 is 6y. And 24 minus 12 is 12. Divide by 6 and y equals 2. Now I have to find x. So y equals 2. And I'm going to choose that first equation, 2x plus 4y equals 24. Choosing that because it's all positive numbers. So when I substitute in, I get 2x plus 4 times 2 equals 24. 2x plus 8 equals 24. Subtract 8 from both sides, and 2x equals 16. Divide by 2, and x equals 8. 8, comma, 2. 8, comma, 2. Okay, so there's your ordered pair. X is 8 and y is 2. And again, you can plug them into your equation to make sure that they work. All right, if you have 8 times 2 is 16, plus 4 times 2 is 8, 16 plus 8 is 24. If you plug them in the second equation, you get 16 minus 4 is 12. 16 minus 4 is 12. So 8, comma 2 does work. All right. The next one says using elimination to solve. So you're doing the same thing. So again, we look at the coefficients of our variables. 3 and 4 are not opposites. 2 and 3 are not opposites. But 2 and 3, the y's, have opposite signs already. So that's my variable that I'm going to choose to eliminate. Okay, I'm going to choose to eliminate my y's because they're already opposites. Remember what I told you. I told you to just multiply by the opposite number. So what is the coefficient of the y in the second equation? 3. So multiply the top one by 3. What is the coefficient of y in the top equation? 2. So multiply the bottom equation by 2. You flip the numbers in front of the variable because that's going to make them the same or opposites when you multiply through now. So you're going to get 9x, distribute, plus 6y equals negative 15. Don't forget to distribute on the other side. Now distribute your 2. 8x minus 6y equals 32. Okay, I'm going to erase this now so I have some room to do the rest of the problem. So again, every time, what are we trying to do? We're trying to eliminate one of the variables so we only have one to solve for, because we know how to solve for a variable. We get the variable on one side and everything else on the other side. So now if I look at my y's, they're opposites. So that when I add, I get 17x equals 32 minus 15 is 17. So if I divide by 17, I get x equals 1. Now I'm going to, what do I need to do? I need to find an ordered pair. What's left to find? My y. So x is 1, and pick an equation. 3x plus 2y equals negative 5. So now I'm going to plug in or substitute 3 times 1 plus 2y equals negative 5. That's 3 Bring the 3 over, so I have to subtract it. And I get 2y equals -8. Divide by 2, and y equals -4. So my x was 1, and my y is -4. There's my answer. And again, you can check. 3 minus 8 is -5. Yes, it is. 4 plus 12 is 16. Yes, it is. The next one, notice 4 and 12 aren't the same. 6 and 18 aren't the same. But you can say, what can I multiply 4 by to become 12? Well, 4 times 3 is 12. But I want one of them to be positive and one of them to be negative. Both of these variables have both positive numbers, so it doesn't matter which variable you choose to eliminate. So I would take and I would multiply this top equation by -3, because if I do that, I'm going to get -12x. And when I get -12x and I add it to the 12x down below, I know it's going to cancel out. So if I take that -3 and distribute it, I get -12x plus -18y or -18y equals a -3 times a -9 is a +27. Be very careful there. Now I'm just going to copy down my second equation, and then I'm going to add -12 plus 12, x is 0. -18 plus 18y is also 0. And 27 plus 17 is 38. So what do I have? I have 0 equals 38. This is one of those special solutions because both variables were eliminated. So when both variables are eliminated, you have one of two choices. It's either all real numbers or no solution. So you ask yourself, does 0 ever equal 38? No, it does not. Never. So the answer is no solution. So that's what the answer is to that. If we're doing number 10, it says which choice best describes the solution of the system. And I told you that you needed to solve the solution. All right. So if you look at the x's, one has -16 and one has -4. Well, if I multiply that -4 by -4, it becomes +16. So then my x's will cancel out. So I'm going to multiply that second equation by -4. -4 times -4 is +16x. -4 times -2 is +8y. -4 times 4 is -16. Now I'm going to put that first equation, copy it down, just right underneath my new equation that I just did. Now I'm going to add -16 minus 16x is 0. 8y minus 8y is 0. -16 plus 16 is 0. So again, here's one of those special solutions. All the variables were eliminated. So now you have to look. What does your answer say? 0 equals 0. Well, when will 0 equal 0? All the time. So the answer is all real numbers or many solutions. Again, if you just circled an answer and didn't show me work, you did not receive any credit. You need to show me the work, and so that I know that you saw 0 equals 0 and drew that conclusion. Remember, I don't write down all real numbers. I use that funny looking R, which is the symbol for all real numbers. I hope this helped, and I hope that now you see where you made your mistakes. And if you need to retake it, I'm going to attach the retake test to this assignment that also has this video on it so that you can retake it and submit it to me. Have a great day.